The bank felt like a cage that afternoon, silent except for the faint hum of machines and the shuffle of impatient feet. A young woman stood at the counter, her palms sweating as she clutched a folded check like it was her future. Next, the manager called out, voice sharp and clipped. She stepped forward. "Good afternoon, sir. I'd like to deposit this check, please." He didn't look up at first, just extended a hand. When she placed the paper down, his eyes flickered over the amount, $75,000, and then up to her face. His lips pressed together. "Where did you get this?" "My mother wrote it," she said softly. "For my tuition and housing." He chuckled under his breath. "Your mother, huh? And what does she do, win the lottery?" "She's a businesswoman." "Sure," he muttered, holding the check up to the light as if it could tell him a story. "This looks forged. Do you know we can report things like this?" Her throat tightened. "It's real. You can call her. Her name's Eleanor Carter." "I don't need to call anyone," he snapped. "We've had plenty of people try stunts like this. You walk in here with a fake check, dressed like—" He stopped himself, then waved a hand dismissively. "Never mind." A few people in line turned their heads. The young woman's eyes burned, but she held them steady. "Please, sir. I'm not lying." He sighed and stood up. "You're wasting my time." He took the check, tore it in half, and threw it in the trash. The sound of paper ripping felt louder than any scream. Her voice cracked. "You didn't even verify it." "I don't need to verify a scam," he said coldly. "Get out before I call security." She blinked back tears, turned, and walked out without another word. Outside, the air felt thick. She sat on a bench, shaking, staring at her phone through a blur of tears. "Hey, sweetheart," came the voice she needed most. "Did you deposit the check?" "No, Mom," she whispered. He tore it up. Said it was fake. There was a pause. Then, calm but razor-sharp, her mother said, "Stay there." 20 minutes later, a black Mercedes slid to the curb. A tall woman stepped out, her presence enough to make people straighten their backs without knowing why. Her stride was measured, her gaze unshakable. Inside the bank, the air shifted. Conversations quieted. "Mr. Benson," she said evenly when she reached the counter. "I'm Eleanor Carter. I believe you spoke to my daughter earlier." He blinked, startled. "Oh, yes, there was an issue with a check." "My check," she said. "Where is it?" He hesitated. It appeared suspicious. "I thought it was forged, so I tore it up." He stammered. "I was following protocol, ma'am." Her eyes stayed on him, calm but cutting. "Protocol doesn't excuse disrespect, Mr. Benson. Nor does it justify making assumptions about someone based on how they look." "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," she said, voice lowering. "Because if it were someone else, someone you thought looked wealthy, you'd have verified the check, not destroyed it." He swallowed, unable to meet her gaze. "Do you know who I am?" "I do now," he said quietly. "I'm the CEO of Carter Holdings," she replied. "We own this building. Which means, in a way, you work in my space." He turned pale. "You owe my daughter an apology," she said. "And you'll report this to your regional manager." "I expect a written apology delivered to my office." She turned slightly. Her daughter stood near the door, silent, watching. The manager shifted, fumbling with his words. "Miss Carter, I apologize. I misjudged you. I was wrong." She looked at him, her voice steady but soft. "You didn't just misjudge me. You humiliated me for no reason." He looked down. Eleanor touched her daughter's shoulder gently. "We're done here." As they walked out, whispers rippled through the lobby. The manager sank back into his chair, face flushed, realizing the damage his arrogance had caused. Outside, the car door opened. The mother smiled faintly at her daughter. I'll have a new check written. And maybe I'll consider moving our company's accounts elsewhere. Mom, you didn't have to come, her daughter said quietly. Oh yes, I did, Eleanor replied. Because what happened in there wasn't just about a check. It was about respect. They drove off. Through the window, the young woman watched the bank disappear behind them, her reflection merging with the city skyline. That evening, they sat together on their porch, the sky painted gold. I almost believed him, the daughter said softly. That I didn't belong in a place like that. Her mother turned to her, eyes warm but fierce. Never forget this, you belong anywhere you decide to stand. Don't let anyone's prejudice shrink your worth. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying her words like a promise. She nodded, her heart lighter. The check might have been torn, but something else had been rebuilt, her confidence, her pride, her strength, because sometimes, the lesson isn't about proving others wrong, it's about remembering who you already are. And as the stars began to rise, she smiled quietly to herself, knowing that she would never again lower her head for anyone, not in a bank, not in life, not ever again.